All right, let's talk about it. The MEO Class 4 exam. It's one of those hurdles every marine engineer faces and, man, can it be stressful. Today, we're going to crack the code and lay out a real, practical strategy to get you through it, based on what actually works.
Okay, first things first, let's get this out of the way, because it's a huge source of stress for so many people. This idea, this pressure, that you have to pass on your first try. You've got to let that go. Seriously, it's a powerful quote, I know, but just hearing it and really believing it, that's the first step to actually thinking clearly about this whole thing.
So, you can't control the surveyor, right? You can't control what crazy questions they're going to pull out of a hat, and you definitely can't control luck. But, and this is the important part, you can control what is in your hands, and that's your preparation, your strategy. That's where you have all the power. So let's dive into what that really looks like.
It's easy to think that if you don't pass the first time, you just didn't know your stuff. Even the smartest people fall into that trap. But here's the truth of the matter. Passing this exam, especially the orals, has so much to do with the surveyor you get on that specific day. It's a huge factor.
Think about it. A surveyor can ask you about some obscure system you've barely even seen, or they can start cross-questioning you and go down a rabbit hole you never saw coming. It happens. We've seen people who know their stuff inside and out fail the first time simply because of the luck of the draw. So success here isn't just about being smart, it's about understanding that some of this stuff is just, well, out of your hands. Okay, but here's where things get really interesting. The exam itself, it's changed recently, and this change, believe it or not, is something you can use as a secret weapon. This is a huge piece of the puzzle we're putting together today. So, check this out. Before June 2022, it was all about multiple choice questions. You could kind of get away with just memorizing a bunch of PDFs, but now, the game has totally changed. The written exam is now a full-on subjective, long-form test. Yep, just like the good old days back in college.
And you know what? Don't let that college-style exam thing scare you, because here's the good news. The passing mark is just 50%. That's it. With some decent, structured prep, hitting 50% is totally doable.
And this is the absolute key, right here. Because you have to prepare deeply for the written exam now, you're actually doing the perfect prep for the orals at the very same time. That hard work pays off twice. No more last-minute cramming for the orals because you've already built that solid foundation. It's brilliant, really.
Okay, so this all leads to a fork in the road. Every single person preparing for this exam has to make a choice, and we can basically break it down into two completely different approaches, what we'll call the wise man versus the common man. Let's take a look.
So on one side, you've got the wise man strategy. Think systematic, thorough, going by the book. And on the other side, the common man strategy. This is more of a shortcut, grabbing notes from here, there, and everywhere online.
Let's dig into the wise man approach. Look, this one takes dedication. We're talking about blocking off a good month and a half, maybe 2 months, and just diving deep into the official DG shipping e-learning material. Yeah, it's more work up front, no doubt about it. But the foundation you build, it's rock solid, and it prepares you for everything, the written and the oral. Now, the common man's strategy. This is what a lot of people do. You're hunting around on Telegram, WhatsApp groups, collecting all these different PDFs and notes. It feels like you're getting ahead faster, right? But man, it's a gamble, a huge one, because you could be studying from stuff that's old, wrong, or just incomplete. And trust me, that's the last thing you want when a surveyor starts grilling you in the orals.
All right, so no matter which path you're thinking about taking, there are 3 classic mistakes, 3 pitfalls that can totally wreck your preparation. Let's talk about them because just knowing what they are is half the battle.
Okay, number 1, those random online study groups with people you don't know, yeah, they usually just turn into a huge waste of time. Study by yourself or with a couple of close friends you trust. Number 2, ignore all the crazy myths. The ones like don't take all your papers at once or the surveyor will fail you. It's nonsense. And number 3, and this one is so important, please stop using old notes.
Here's a perfect example. A lot of old notes say the emergency air compressor is always diesel-driven. But on modern ships, not always true. They're often supplied by the emergency switchboard. And that little piece of outdated info, that is exactly the kind of thing a surveyor will pick up on and use to trap you in a cross-questioning nightmare.
So, we've talked about the myths, the different strategies, the things to avoid. So what does this all boil down to? What's the one thing you really need to focus on?
It's this. You cannot control the surveyor, you cannot control luck, but you can control your preparation, the quality of it, the depth of it. So stop worrying about passing on the first try, stop stressing about which surveyor you're going to get. Pour every ounce of that energy into what you actually have power over, your own prep. That's your superpower here.
So let's wrap this up with a quick checklist. First, accept that passing on the first attempt isn't the only way to succeed. Second, use that tough written exam prep to get you ready for the orals. Third, pick a smart, deliberate study strategy. You know which one I'm talking about. And of course, avoid those common traps like old notes and silly mess. The bottom line is to focus on building a really solid base of knowledge. That's what's going to get you across the finish line, not luck or speed.
So at the end of the day, it really comes back to you, doesn't it? The journey you take, the work you put in, that's what builds the confidence and the knowledge that really matters. So, which strategy are you going to choose?